Okay, so the Naruto franchise has shown a variety of different Chakra avatars, but what are all of them and what do they have in common? Let's break it down. But before we do that, do me a huge favor and drop a like, comment, and subscribe as we're approaching 25k subs, and let's jump straight into it. So first on the list is the Rock Golem. It's an earth release technique that enables the user to manipulate their chakra to create a humanoid structure composed of earth, used from the ground or generated from the user themselves. Depending on the user's strength, the golem can vary in size and shape, but there are some common traits among them. They're primarily used as a sort of tank and can also be used defensively. Some prominent users include Jirobo, who in the anime once used his curse mark to generate an earth prison golem, which he was able to use to absorb chakra and reconstruct itself if damaged. Akatsuchi also has a unique golem with a two-pronged head that seems to be typically a few times larger than a person and is primarily used defensively, such as when he protected himself in Onoki against Deidara's assault. We have Kirara, who also has a rock golem, which has a much larger appearance but seems to easily crumble against one vanishing Rasengan from Boruto and the Boruto franchise. We also have Onoki, who uses a golem technique a little more diversely. He occasionally encases his fists in the golem hands to enhance his brute strength, and also can generate larger golems such as against Madara. Overall, he shows a fuller range of control over this technique. Pushing this technique a little farther, we have Toneri, who used a statue to Hamura carved into a wall over a shrine and formed it into a golem. This golem fought against the Ninetales, and using his Tensegan, he was able to cause it to actually be relative to the Ninetales temporarily until it was finally overpowered. And in the most upper echelon of this technique, we have Momoshiki, who's able to create an avatar known as the Monkey Rock Golem, which is on the size and scale of the Ninetales formed by lava and molten rock. This appearance was inspired actually from the story that Momoshiki is based off of, which is from Momotaro, the Peach Boy, which is Japanese folklore, where the Peach Boy meets a pheasant, a dog, and a monkey, which all actually inspire Momoshiki's individual techniques. Next, we have Orochimaru's 8 branches. Now, Orochimaru has historically been able to summon massive snakes to his aid, but those aren't what we're referring to here. He actually has one extraordinarily impressive technique known as the 8 branches technique, where he's able to use the power of reincarnation and use a white snake as an intermediary to transform into a massive 8-headed snake, larger than Manda, and he was needed to be sealed as soon as possible by Itachi using his Susanoo's sealing sword known as the Sword of Kusanagi. Moving on, we have Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage, known as the god of shinobi and known for his strength in leading the Senju clan. He had a unique ability to utilize wood release and had a variety of different avatars with varying degrees of strength and utility. One of them was the wooden dragon, which was able to drain chakra and seems to be relative to Madara's humanoid full body Susanoo. Once he uses the ox, horse, bear, and snake hand signs, Hashirama is able to use an advancement of this to form a massive wooden golem. The golem serves a similar purpose as the rock golem, being used offensively with brute force and defensively, as well as being used as a battle avatar. His golem traditionally looked like a humanoid creature with a dragon wrapped around its neck and torso. In terms of destructive capacity and power output, this golem that Hashirama used was pretty much relative to Madara's perfect Susanoo and eventually was able to overpower it. A large difference between this and the rock golem is that it traditionally isn't used to encase the full body, much like a Susanoo is, but is used as a sort of external avatar. Now, taking this to its extreme, we have Sage Mode Hashirama's Sage Art Wood Release True Several Thousand Hands. This is an avatar that stands significantly higher than those prior and is a Buddha-looking statue that dwarfs the Ninetales with several thousand hands, and Hashirama uses this to not only match the perfect Susanoo from Madara, but overpower a Majestic Attire Susanoo with the full Ninetales. Now, speaking of the Majestic Attire Susanoo, I think that the next thing that makes sense to cover is the Susanoo. The Susanoo is a large humanoid avatar that encases the user in a semi-transparent aura of colored chakra. This is obtained only by users who have awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan in both eyes and varies in appearance depending on its advancement or level of development. The first stages of the Susanoo begin with the ribcage being formed around the user and is typically only used defensively. After this, arms can be created stemming from the ribcage, which can be used to block, grab, or even tackle. Then an upper body skeletal structure begins to form, with the avatar beginning to become much larger but still traditionally lacking a lower body. After this, the Susanoo is more fleshed out and has a more humanoid appearance and can form a lower body. Around this point in time, Madara also decides to use his dual-headed humanoid Susanoo, but following that is the armored Susanoo, which can form a full body, and after that, the final step is the full body perfect Susanoo, which is massive massive in stature and is comparable in size to the tailed beast, and stands even higher if you consider Hagoromo's non-canonical one. At this stage, nearly all perfect Susanos have a near identical appearance because most of them didn't prior, and they're towering looking, ethereal. They're usually clad in shimmering armor and they have blazing eyes, wielding legendary swords, with wings, the ability of flight, and exuding chakra in their own respective colors. The last advancement, technically, is the one Sasuke uses when he absorbs the power of all the tailed beasts and forms what he calls Indra's Susanoo. Now, this isn't usually accessible to most Susanoo users, and isn't really what Indra's Susanoo looked like, because we know what it actually was based on the manga and the anime, but it's inspired from Indra, and it's when Sasuke absorbs the power of all the tailed beasts, and he's able to use this new form and has access to Indra's arrow, an extraordinary lightning arrow made of pure chakra. The prominent users of the Susanoo that we're aware of are Sasuke, who has up to Indra mode with a purple appearance, Itachi, who has an orange Susanoo, which never goes beyond the armored state in canonical material, Shisui, who never used it in canonical material but is traditionally shown as having a green perfect Susanoo in games, Madara, who has a perfect Susanoo with a very dark blue color, Indra, who has a purple Susanoo which looks identical to Sasuke's in both the anime and the manga, largely in part likely because Sasuke is a reincarnation of Indra, but then again so is Madara, so maybe this theory doesn't really hold too much water. Kakashi, or more accurately Obito since they were originally his eyes, with a baby blue Susanoo, and finally Hagoromo with the non-canonical but massive Susanoo, which is light blue in color with a slightly different facial structure than some of the other Susanos, but is on the size and scale of the Ten Tails, so this is on a whole nother level. Moving on, I think it makes sense to cover the Nine Tails Chakra mode next. The Nine Tails specifically seems to have the ability not only to enable the respective Jinchuriki to enter the regular red Biju Chakra mode, but also enter a specific Chakra mode with an orange aura. After entering KCM2, Naruto gains the ability to access a full QB avatar. This avatar appears to be a replica of the Nine Tails itself, but formed entirely out of orange or yellow chakra with black markings along the entire body. This is something that Naruto uses traditionally to increase his damage output and destructive capacity, and is his own counter to the Susanoo. Later, after obtaining 6-pass Senjutsu, he's able to create multiple shadow clones of his massive Nine Tails Chakra avatar, and combines them to create what is known as Ashura Kurama Mode. This avatar is on the same size as his original QB avatar, but with the 3 merged heads and 6 arms. This is meant to be inspired by another avatar in this list, which only makes sense to be Ashura's avatar. This avatar is only seen briefly in the manga against Indra, where he showcases a nearly identical avatar as Naruto's QB with the Nine Tails, 3 heads and black coloration alongside it, but one large difference is that it's not known that he actually uses the Nine Tails, so a lot of people have implied that this is his own power, and another difference is that instead of using Rasen Shurikens, he actually generates 5 Truth Seeker orbs. Another Biju avatar is that of Kaguya's when she merges with the God Tree and is hit with a super tailed beast Rasen Shuriken. The chakra reacts with that of the corresponding tailed beast inside of Kaguya, and she turns into a white ravenous bunny amalgamation of the tailed beast, which was both unintentional and unstable, so it didn't last very long. And now that we've covered the Bijus and the Susanos, the next chakra avatar we have to cover is the Majestic Attire Susanoo. This is when both a Susanoo user and the Nine Tails chakra avatar combine to form the Majestic Attire Susanoo. This ends up greatly enhancing the power output of the 2 users combined, and we primarily see 3 distinct users use this with 3 distinct appearances. The first is Madara when he uses this with the raw full Nine Tails, encasing it in his dark blue perfect Susanoo cloak against Hashirama. The second is Naruto and Sasuke, who use this on several occasions. Typically, it looks like the one Madara did, but with the QB cloaked avatar encased in a purple perfect Susanoo. Now, you might be wondering what the third appearance of the Majestic Susanoo is, but it's actually in the fight against Momoshiki, where we get a very distinct altered appearance that shows a slightly more of the Nine Tails in and of itself. The armor appears a bit distinct as well, and more curved, open, and Sasuke actually generated a sword for the QB to use in this fight as well. The next chakra avatar we have is from Deidara. Deidara possesses a unique Hekigenkai, or special bloodline ability, that enables him to use explosion release and combine earth and lightning chakra natures to enable his chakra avatars to explode on impact or by will. He also has a forbidden Kinjutsu that enables him to mold chakra into clay. Using these, he's able to create his own unique chakra avatars that vary in size and utility, but are all made of white clay. He can create clay clones, mass massive owls, and even his largest C2 dragon. Next is the Super Beast Scroll. This is a technique that's used by Sai, but later his son Inojin takes this up as well, and this is where they're able to animate their ink drawings to act upon their will. They have a white base color on Sai's end with a black inky outline, and the utility is extraordinary as they seem to be limited mainly by the creative capacity and will of the creator. Sai has used it to create hawks, snakes, tigers, owls, and dragons, as well as showcasing the creative capacity to use stealthy, more smaller drawings such as rats, leeches, and even fish to deliver messages. Inojin, on the other hand, has more colorful artwork, likely due to being a child or just more creative than his father. He likes to create hawks, sparrows, and dogs, and even though he uses the same ability, he prefers to create smaller, more tame-looking creatures, and doesn't necessarily have his father's harsh veracity yet. And finally, the last avatar that we have on the list is probably one of the most mysterious ones, and by using the original Uzumaki clan sealing jutsu, one is able to use the Reaper Death Seal that summons a translucent demonic figure with white hair, horns, and a white cloak. This ability is a double-edged sword as it not only seals the opponent's soul, but is also one of a self-sacrificial technique where both are sealed in the stomach of the Shinigami, and where both souls suffer an eternity battling for its entirety. The one saving grace is that there is a Shinigami mask that can release the souls from the stomach of the Shinigami, which was used by Orochimaru, and this technique was showcased 2 main times, the first being by the 4th Hokage on the Ninetales, and the second being by the 3rd Hokage on Orochimaru. But still to this day, it is possible to survive this, such as how Orochimaru was able to, but still got his hand sealed away. But still to this day, the Shinigami remains as one of the most mysterious figures in the franchise. But that's pretty much it as far as the Chakra avatars found in Naruto. Let me know your thoughts down below, any fun facts about them, maybe any that I missed, and be sure to check out our Discord server, check out our new hoodie, as well as liking, commenting, and subscribing on any to stay up to date with any new anime topics we might cover, as well as explained videos, and I'll catch you in the next one.